And is it going to be a David Goggins or a Jocko or a Joe Rogan and just say, hey, you just need to be disciplined. Motivation, it'll come and go, but discipline stays forever. That doesn't really work. After about 20 years of doing this, I have kind of come to the realization that when people are struggling to get good sleep, it's because they suck. Really that simple. And I don't mean that to be I don't mean that to be mean. There's so many nuances to sleep dysregulation, so I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but if we had to boil it down and zoom out to a macro level, it's either physiological or it's psychological, one or the other. And so when it comes to the psychological side, in most cases, people are going to struggle because they're dealing with revenge, bedtime, procrastination. The revenge part kind of is it's about gaining autonomy in their life, right? So somebody that has no autonomy throughout the day, they get their me time at night, and they get 2 extra hours of me time by staying up an extra 2 hours. So they basically reclaim control of their life by staying up late and choosing to not get good sleep. Physiologically, it can get a little bit more complex, although psychology stays pretty complex as well. If we're talking about trauma-driven hypervigilance, if we're talking about perfectionism and shame, codependency and the crappiness of boundaries, overstimulation even. Those things are all very, very big in the psychological sleep problem world. Now, ultimately, you need to have somebody there to be a mirror, to be a reflection so you can actually see that, because anyone can be like, hey, it's that, but it's always going to be behind us. So we're just going to be like, wait, I don't see it. But if we get a mirror, we can be like, oh yeah, I see it. It's right behind me. So you need to have somebody that's an actual mirror that you can reflect off of and realize what the problem is so you can begin to work through it. Because awareness is the first step to fixing anything. If you don't know that your tires are flat, how do you know to go pump your tires up so you don't, get into a car accident? So it's the same thing when it comes to psychological issues. You need to have somebody that's a mirror. So a good coach, what we might call a trauma-informed coach, a coach that just understands these things at a deeper level. And is it going to be a David Goggins or a Jocko or a Joe Rogan and just say, hey, you just need to be disciplined. Motivation, it'll come and go, but discipline stays forever. That doesn't really work. And there's a reason why a lot of people don't succumb or don't subscribe to that, paradigm, if you will. So more or less, if you're not getting great sleep, it's because you suck and you need to work on it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone sucks at something, and the end game is to just try to get better at stuff so we can all live the lives that we want to live. Just making sure that you understand why you do what you do is the key to all of it. That doesn't necessarily mean the why is a good thing. People, drink sweet tea because it reminds them of grandma, when they were 7 years old and they were growing up on a farm in Tennessee. But that sweet tea is giving them diabetes, but it reminds them of a happy memory. And so there's good and there's value in that. Is it the healthiest choice for longevity? No, but there's value in that consequence. And so we have to understand why we do what we do. And the only way to really develop that is to have a coach or somebody that's informed, a mentor, coach, therapist, whatever you want to call it, somebody that's going to sit there with you through the process, not judgmentally, but empathetically, and want to meet you where you're at and basically just be a mirror for you to be like, hey, could it be this? Have you ever thought of this? And asking you questions that make you go, oh, yeah. And now all of a sudden that person becomes that mirror for you. And you can be like, oh yeah, it's right here. Let me pull that out. Now I can work on that. As long as we understand that everything we do in life is a choice. The only thing we have to do is die. You don't have to pay taxes. You can go to jail. You don't have to pay your mortgage. You can be homeless. You don't have to pay rent. You can be homeless. You can choose those things. But most people choose to pay the mortgage because they don't want to be homeless. They don't want to lose their house. But it's still a choice. No one's forcing you. So as soon as we understand that, we can understand, hey, listen, I'm struggling with this thing. It's because I suck at making the right choices. If you struggle with sleep, if you struggle with fat loss, you typically just suck at making the right choices.